Hello and welcome to the Nothing is Wrong with You book podcast. We're thrilled to have you here with us today. This is a space where we talk about everything books. And so usually at the start of our episode, we share what we're currently reading. And so, Colleen, what are you reading right now?
Okay, so this morning I finished, I always talk about my comfort books, a book that I've been dipping in and out for a year, Upstream by Mary Oliver. It is a collection of essays by her. They are lovely. And I finished it today and I'm glad I read it. I skipped a few essays in the middle because they were about like Whitman and Emerson. I was like, I don't really want to do that. But the rest that were Mary Oliver as being Mary Oliver are a delight. So if you're looking for something that's a nice companion for a long time and you like Mary Oliver, good choice. It's going to seem like I'm very heavy here, but we'll get to the end then. Days of Love and Rage by Anand Gopal, a story of ordinary people forging a revolution. This is about the Syrian war, and I think it's probably going to be like My Seasons of Trouble by Rohini. That I've written about it. Like, I think it's the most incredible book that has ever been written. It's about the Sri Lankan civil war, and this sounds like it could be a similar type of book, but about Syria. So it's slow going. I will eventually get across the finish line, but I read like 3 pages a day because there's a lot here that I don't really know and understand. So there's that. I am reading, again, dipping in and out over and over again, poems by byWarsan, Shire. Bless the Daughter, Raised by a Voice in Her Head. You were nodding. Have you read this?
No, I just remember you posting it, I think.
Obsessed. So this is, again, an interesting example. Like, I don't know if you all follow Dua Lipa, but she has an amazing site about books. Like, she might be one of the best voices right now about world literature. I have found so many books. I think it's called Service 95, a book I recently reviewed for World Lit Today. I found on there. She talked about this, and this book is incredible. You can see my post-it notes. These are like, I have to teach these poems to my students. They're absolutely wonderful. They're about a woman who was a refugee from Somalia as a child living in London. And the work that this book does is incredible. So I read like 2 a day because I want to just have time with them. And just to make sure, that I am not always that person. My last book is Heated Rivalry, which I think I'm going to teach in my Queer Lit class.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. I think so. So I'm going to read Heated Rivalry. It just came from the publisher, but I just wanted to make sure that you saw that people who read these serious books, whatever that means, like also read Heated Rivalry, which I could do a whole podcast episode about. So I'll tell you how I think, and I think it's such an interesting phenomena that I decided to incorporate it into Queer Lit for this year. So Syrian war and hot gay hockey players. This is I am multitudes. Yes. I think that might even be one of the people, Emerson or Whitman, but I am multitudes. What are you reading or recently finished reading?
Yeah, so I am listening to Python's Kiss by Louise Erdrich.
Okay. And it's short stories.
It's short stories, which I typically do not like. But there is one in there
okay.
that I am obsessing on. Like, I just can't stop thinking about.
What is it? What is it?
It's where you think it's going in a direction and it goes in a different direction, and it's that really good character development. I know, again, I typically, if it's going to be fiction, I just want to read a novel and be done with it. But I felt like these were really solid. It was a really solid collection of short stories. So
I love teaching short stories because I can fit in a lot of authors, but I do not. That's why I want to know. So at some point I want to know what the name of that was, because maybe I'll teach it. Yeah, we should do a whole episode about why we don't like short stories, because that does seem weird. But so it was good. It's a good collection because I love her long novels. So I feel like I'd be like, I want some more here.
I'm still going through it, but it's good so far. But
that story is sticking with you. It's like, I'm not going to curse, but Claire Keegan's story, Alaska, Do you remember that?
Yeah. Like
And
I
haunt, like
literally
that's
wanted
like
to
you
like
never
list.
forget.
Yeah. Like I just wanted to kind of go back to it. Like I wanted to listen to it again.
Wow.
And I did actually go back a little bit because I was like, I want to listen a little bit more to like how that ends.
You're so good about that.
Hmm.
I invoked you the other day with the book thief, but that's another day.
Oh.
Somebody brought it up and I was like, my friend has read that 5 times. How did it come up? Oh, one of Ev's friends was reading it, and I freaked out. So
I
anyway,
love that.
yeah, I
I
know
love
you're good
that.
about going back and listening, and I'm always like, I gotta move forward. I don't have time to do this.
So another book that I just finished was We Can Make a Life by Chessie Henry. And whenever I think about this, because it talks about a song at the end, like where I even got the title, and so every time I'm like, we can make a life.
I
I
don't
start
know
singing the
anything
song.
of what you're talking about, but I love that.
I didn't know what the song was either. It's a New Zealand band that I listened to. I was like, what is this song? Let me look it up. This
Oh, it's a
book,
New Zealand band.
yeah, this is a New Zealand author.
Okay.
This book, so good. Um, so it's about her family essentially, and it wasn't what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a memoir about her, but a lot of this really is about like her parents, and she's in there. Her siblings are in there, obviously, but she shares like the journey of her parents who grew up in England, moved to New Zealand, their life, why they built it that way. There's the Christchurch earthquake in here that her dad was a first responder in that space. There's the Kaikoura earthquake that her family was in as well. It was another one of those that I just, whenever I had a moment, I wanted to go back and continue reading it. And I just felt like she did such a really good job telling other people's stories. So as a memoirist and a writer, like you're always like, how do I tell the story of like my mother or my father or whatever? And I think she just did a really good job at it. And then throughout, she talked about like her space of where she was as a writer while working through this, right?
Oh, that's cool too. Do you think you liked it? Do you think you had more attachment to it because it's New Zealand?
I would have thought so, but no, I just really liked her way of telling the story. I picked it up because it was about New Zealand, which is really interesting because I don't even remember how I found this. I think it was an Instagram post of like, if you like this memoir, you might like this memoir. And then I saw somebody's, and it could have been on Goodreads. I don't like, I look at too many things I never remember, but somebody was like, I picked this up when I was in Christchurch for the plane ride home, and I'm so glad I did. Oh, so I picked it up because I thought the whole thing was going to be about the Christchurch earthquake. So I have friends that live in Christchurch, and so I remember like all of that was going on, and I thought that's what this book was going to be about. It is, there's a section of it, but that's not what it's about. It's about her whole family, her life, again, really focusing on her parents. And I don't think it was just because it's New Zealand. I think she just did a really good job at telling this story. And I think I did illuminated on it actually because of that methodology. And I mark this as one I'll probably teach because it's the methodology about going through and telling other people's stories as alongside your story.
I need a lesson in that. So that's good. And I'm going to show my ignorance. I knew there was a shooting in Christchurch. I did not know there was an earthquake. When
February
was that?
2011.
Okay.
It was huge.
Newly pregnant. So I don't think I was paying much
Yes.
attention to
I
anything.
remember
Actually,
it because
you would think I would have known all about it.
I was teaching at DeSales at the time, and it was really hard to focus on my class when I just learned about the earthquake and my friends, like thinking about my friends and everyone there. So this
Okay.
is when the CTV, a huge building in the city, like just fully collapsed and a lot of people died.
Oh, okay.
Um, the cathedral, which is like the iconic image of Christchurch, crumbled. There was a
Okay.
lot of liquefaction and then just the multitudes of aftershocks. It was, anyway, and the
I think
Kaikoura was just as bad. Like the Kaikoura was also very bad earthquake.
I need to read that book and understand this better. If you say it's a book you might teach, that makes my spidey senses go off immediately.
Yeah, I definitely noted it as one that I'm going to teach because I feel like it's a good way of looking at how someone tells that story.
And we do this all the time because I know you are not going to mention it, and she doesn't set me up. But you are teaching. Again, you do all these wonderful workshops for people that like to read and just want to talk about books. So you should check out the amazing you've done Sad Tiger, Fact of a Body. Like, there is a great opportunity that you give people that I know you won't toot your own horn, but I will tell the people that they might want to check it out.
Thanks, Colleen. Yeah, it's part of my illuminated workshops. It really is an opportunity to look at the techniques and methodology, how people tell their stories. And so diving into that. So that's, again, I immediately was like, oh, I was halfway through and I'm like, I'm definitely going to teach this one.
If you say that you are going to add that to the roster, that says a lot to me about the value and skill of the book.
And I just want to know, because there were some typos in there, as we know happens in publishing. Yeah. And it just made me feel like good as well, because one of my books had a typo in it, and it's just like, these things happen.
They do. But if there are too many, I get annoyed.
There were a couple.
Were they enough that they were a distraction?
Oh, no. No.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're just warning people.
Well, because one of them was like, you're reading along. I was reading along, and then I was like, wait, that didn't say what I think it just said, kind of thing. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, that's In my most important academic article, in the abstract, the word not is missing. And it completely changed. I was like, wait, I don't argue this. And I just realized the word not was in there and no one recognized it. And I'm haunted by the word not being in there. So I understand that it happens, but also on the other end, it's like so painful when all these people read something and it's still not perfect. Yeah. And then the other book that I'm reading, Tempest Williams.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous. So jealous of this. I can't. When you posted that you were at a lecture of hers, I about threw my phone across the room. I'm obsessed with her. So let's evoke our wonderful friend Athena, who's not here with us today. She is the one that got me to go to that conversation with Tempest Williams. I'm a little bit of a hermit myself, and so there's often those, it's at night and I have to go. And she was like, come on. I was like, come on. Is it really worth it? So I was so excited that I went with Athena to the lecture, to the conversation around the book. And the one story, and I believe it's actually in the very first story in this, she's talking about this day of prayer and recognition and going outside, and she's holding her grandmother's amethyst, and she's feeling the heat of that, and that, like, afterwards when it's all done and her hand's all hot and everything, she opens up her palm and it has all cracks in it. Like, it was like, what? It was this brilliant story, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get that. And it has been amazing. I love it. This is my new comfort book, is what you're telling me. I love it. Okay. Is it like a drop in, drop out kind of thing? Like, I can have it where I read one a week? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I gotta get that book. God, I can't keep buying books. I love her so much. It is so good. It is so good. I'm loving it. And I really wish you could have been at the conversation, because she was talking so much about, teaching at a university and working with students and what that means in that space. And some of the sections are about that as well. The first thing I underlined was, we can reweave the world anew, not from the places of fear and doubt, but from the intimate spaces of belonging. God, I feel like if I had a pedagogical tombstone, that's what I would put on it. Like, that's exactly right. Yeah. It's everything. Brilliant. I'm like halfway through. So loving it. Okay. I love reading. I love talking about books with you. Thank you for joining the three of us today. We are so happy that you are part of our reading community. Thank you for all your engagement on social media and the platforms of where you're listening to this podcast.
We really appreciate it when you give us those thumbs up, make some comments down below, and or share out an episode with a friend. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on our episodes. And thank you so much for listening, for engaging, for following us, and for being part of our community.
You know, that's why we love this podcast, right? So I guess we could talk about the books we're reading forever.
Yeah, we've been for almost 20 minutes.
But we are supposed to be talking about the theme of today, and that is like kind of how books like haunt us, or themes come to us in various ways. And so I'm actually really curious about this conversation. I was having a conversation a couple weeks ago with Athena about this, and this idea, like she was mentioning, and I really wish I could remember what the theme was or what the essence was, but I can't. Like all these books she was reading around the same kind of theme or topic, and I was like, oh, we need to do a podcast on that, in the sense of, I'm so curious, is it because of like how the books and the stories need to come to us, or is it like what the publishers are like kind of all like this communal brain or something? Like just like every publisher puts out a book
like
of
a zeitgeist thing?
Yeah.
Or is it like a personal thing? Or is it both? Or is it marketing?
I don't know, right? Like, or is it those themes coming to us organically? Like, are they coming to us because they're there to tell us something? Or have they been orchestrated by the publishing world to be like, everybody needs to know about fairies, or everyone needs to read about dragons, or like, right? Because for a while there...
This happened to you before. This happened, I don't know if we talked about this, but the memoir that we both love, I have to look it up every time, about the Sri Lankan tsunami and that guy. So like, I remember you were like, every book we read was like reference to this book we had never heard of before, and it was downright eerie. Like that's what we're talking about, like, the eerie stuff where you're just like, okay, universe, there's clearly something I'm supposed to learn today.
Well, and that one of the other ones around that was the Burke sisters, Gabrielle.
Oh my god!
And yes. And her Cabra. What was his name? Her husband, the artist.
Oh yeah, and then you read the other book with him in
it. He was in flipping every book I was reading. I was like, what?
And then I saw a movie, and I was like, I feel like this is like a movie that Claire Berest would make, and then she did. I was like, what? Then I found out it wasn't in the title or anything, but then I read an article. I was like, oh my god, we're being haunted by her. So yeah, the Berest sisters, B-E-R, we are haunted by them.
Yes.
We cannot kick them. We cannot kick them. They continue coming up in our universe. I don't think that's zeitgeist. I think that's universe. Like, because that's a very particular, it's so niche. I think the universe is telling us something with her and with that freaking memoir that I can never remember the name of, even though I think it's one of the best things ever written.
So there was Other People's Words was
that's
up. And then from that was
that's right.
Other People's Lives or something like that. Or no.
Yeah.
Lives Other Than My Own.
Yep, that sounds right. It's a memoir about Sri Lanka, and then not about Sri Lanka as well. It's brilliant. It's so good. But we have followed, and that's not the one I'm talking about today, but we have in the past, I'm not sure together on the podcast, but you and I have discussed these like strange lines that have followed us.
My recent one, and this is where I feel like it doesn't seem like it's so related to what's going on in the publishing world, because some of the stuff I've been reading is like old, or I found a used book that like, oh, that looks like interesting. And then, but it's all about Iona in Scotland, flipping island. And that was the whole reason I picked up the Book of I, because I was like, oh my gosh, it's about Iona, and everything I'm reading is about Iona.
I forgot you had like a whole Iona spell that they just kept pulling. But you had also just gone to Scotland too, right? Like there was something in your life that actually, I feel like it was, those books were being drawn to you.
Absolutely. And that's my point, right? Like it wasn't, I started thinking about that. That's the picture behind me, if you can see it.
Yes.
That's St. Bridget going to Iona. So there was moments like that I purposely was looking at stuff, right? Like when after we went to Scotland. But then there was this time afterwards that it just kept coming up, like in books that I didn't expect it to be. Like they weren't about Scotland. It was about something totally different. And then the next thing you know,
like, wait, why is this here? Like
we went to Iona, and you're like, what?
And you're reading it, like, you got to be effing kidding. Like, are you serious that this is in this book? Why is this in this book? Yeah,
exactly.
I forgot about your Book of I.
The Book of I. That was the icing on the cake of that whole scenario. Like, it was just like, here it is. All about that.
Yeah, and that was a book you just found. Also, one of the best books I've ever read. My friend just read it. She loved it too. So if you don't know that book, you should go back to one of our episodes or go onto our bookshop store and you will see us recommend it. But that was such a random book for you to come to. And then that opened up such a huge door for you, for me, because of this idea that was following you.
Exactly. When I saw that in the bookstore, I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I wasn't even there for that. I was going to pop in, grab a book, and leave. And I just happened to see it on the book table and was like, oh, that cover's interesting. The Book of I. What's that about? I saw Iona and I was like, oh, I'm buying it. Just like walked up to the counter, like, I'm also here to pick up a book and I'm taking this one.
And I'll have this one too. This one will come home with me.
Yeah, so glad I did. Anyway, you have had some hauntings recently.
My God, I'm being haunted by bogs. Bogs is the current trend in my life. And I think bogs are having a moment because there is a book that I didn't read, but I think most people who've read a bog book, I keep calling them bog books now, The Bog Wife by Kay Chronister. That is not the bog book I read, but that was a bestseller. And so the two books that I read that were about bogs, like the one I knew was about bogs because the title is literally The Bog. Oh, God.
That's the Bog Queen.
We conflate them constantly. Yeah, the Bog Queen. Yes. So the Bog Queen versus the Bog Wife. You can see why I'm confused. So I read the Bog Queen and didn't realize, and we talked about this a little bit, that it's by Anna North, who wrote the book The Outlaws, which I really loved. These are both from the library, so I can't show them. But then Athena in our group chat mentioned another book called Our Numbered Bones by Katya Balin, but she did not mention in the group chat that it was about bogs. Like, both of those books are about women who are found kind of preserved in a bog, and then this woman has something to tell us. So it's really it's like these stories of I'm kind of having an idea about maybe why I'm being haunted by this now that I'm talking out loud. But this idea of somebody who's like no longer here trying to tell something, but the preservation, like the actual, I've learned a lot about bogs from these two books, the actual nature of it and how pristine these bodies are if they're in a bog. It's such an interesting vehicle for telling a story. And then I think I texted you that night, actually. I'm at the honors celebration, and one of my wonderful students who made this really funny shirt that teased WGS and was like, I went to college and all I got was radicalized by Dr. Clemens or something like that, like really silly. But I did not work with her on her honors thesis. And so they're naming the title of it. And she wrote a whole like short story cycle about bogs. And they said it. And I immediately looked over at her. She was at the table. I was like, I need to talk to you. I didn't get to because she graduated and I'm on sabbatical. But so she also, like, I'm like, this student that I adore is also wrote a whole thing using a bog as a vehicle. So I am currently being haunted by bogs. I'm sure there's something I'm supposed to learn. I'm curious if other people find this, that they kind of get, because these books came to me in different ways. So I don't think this is a marketing thing. I just think this is the world sending me bog books, or the world sending you books about Scotland, or I'm curious what other people have had this experience, but it's uncanny, I guess is the word to use, how this happens. And then you can't seem to break away. I'm sure some other thing I'm going to read is going to be about bogs this summer. And I'm going to be like, I'm going to text you. I'm going to send you a picture. I'm going to be these MF and bogs will not leave me alone. So it is curious to me as a reader that we get haunted by these. I say haunted. Maybe visited is a nicer verb, but it does feel haunting to me.
I feel like it's haunting because again, I remember every time like I'm reading something and it happens and you're like, are you kidding me? Like, how can we be in this space again? And I think, I'm always one like looking for patterns, the why of everything. So I start investigating like, why am I hearing all about this? And I think it's interesting, the bog space, because that's not, I get that the bog wife and the bog queen, because I get those two mixed up. And we've talked about that already in the podcast, but I think there is some element that is part of out in current publishing, but the fact that there's a thesis in there, like there's other avenues. But I think what's really interesting is that there's a lot in that. There is a lot in that, I wouldn't call it a genre, but that theme of bogs, because, and maybe this is also some of the connection, because a lot of, with colonization, when things were like being forbidden, they buried them in bogs, and that's how they got preserved. I know that in Aotearoa, like a lot of their carvings have been pulled out of bogs, as a way of reclaiming. And that's just what you're talking about with these women and the stories to tell, and that the bodies were found and preserved, and like there's something there about something there.
And the women are not in a great place that are somehow then come into contact with these bog women, the vehicle to tell about their own hard time of whatever it is. I mean, the Bones one is very sad. I mean, there's a lot of grief, and it's really a beautiful book. Again, very short, but I think Athena just told us about it, and I looked it up and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. So yeah, I just think if you read enough, there's going to be the universe sending you things. And I think you and I try to pay attention to those things and really think about like, okay, bogs, what am I supposed to learn from you? Something.
Yeah. Because I mean, I think that's the thing, right? Like even if it is like the publishing or like this kind of like group think kind of thing, like we're going to put all these bog books or dragon books or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They still have to come to you, right? You still have to find them. It's not like you're reading every new book that came out. And so that's why like, oh, I see this theme through all of this. There is this process. And so again, via recommendations, via whatever it is, you pick it up, you start reading it. You're like, oh my gosh, here we are.
Yeah, I don't have some bog algorithm. I don't think like, I don't think the algorithm is presenting me with bog books. And the only reason I picked up the other one is I was like, oh, it was at Kutztown, so I can keep it out for forever. And I was like, oh, I kind of saw that. And then again, I didn't even realize it was by this author I really liked. So there was a lot that happened as I started reading that. I really like these books too. Like, it's not the recommendation we're putting forward today, but they are both worth reading. We should put those in the links. I'll try to remember on our bookshop page. Yep. Yeah. Bog section, bog list. I just like saying a bog. I actually didn't even really know what a bog was until I taught in England. And then my friend was explaining to me bog culture, basically. Yeah. Yep.
There's the cycle. That was like me going to Scotland. Next thing you know, Iona's everywhere. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, we're haunted, and then there'll be a new thing. The bogs will go away, and the island of Scotland will go away, and then there'll be a new thing.
Yeah. The Ingress sisters will create a new book, and then something in there will haunt me.
That's right. That artist, I forgot he was haunting you.
So random. But not apparently.
Nope, nothing's random.
All right. Well, anyway, as part of the podcast, we always give a recommendation. And this recommendation is one that I have not read, and our rule is that 2 out of 3. So it is on my list. I'm just waiting from the library for it. But Athena and Colleen gave big thumbs up on it. And so what is the book that we're recommending today?
So this is nothing extraordinary because everybody seems to be reading this book right now, which is why you have to wait so long at the library. But it is Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. And it is more than I think it's being given credit for. It's the story that the book wasn't even finished yet, and Anne Hathaway bought the rights to it before the book was done. So I think that's added to some of the hype for this book. It's exploring tradwife culture, which my friends that read it, that we had a little book club, like had actually never heard of tradwife culture. I was like, you lucky people. Like, right? Like if you're not in the world that we're in, like it's my job to know what those things are. And my students are the ones who taught me what it is, or I wouldn't have known it either. So it is an interesting exploration for sure. It is a book that is very hard to put down. And there is a reason I think that so many people are reading it right now. I am very interested in seeing the movie to see what is done. But this idea of, a lot of my friends have read it and a lot of my friends have had different reactions to it. But it is either a very feminist novel or an anti-feminist novel, depending of who you ask in my friend group. And there's just a lot to talk about. My 2 girlfriends and I sat and talked for 2 hours the other day about this book. So it's quite an exploration of influencer culture and the world that we live in now, for sure. So I give it a recommendation. I know Athena does as well. And I'm curious if you've read it already, comment somewhere on our YouTube page, but curious what you think about it as well. And can't wait to hear what you think about it. Rebecca?
I kind of love that we're recommending a book that's trending, because typically this book podcast started with us going, we don't like the books that are trending, and why is everybody like obsessed with this book? So I think it's interesting that we're picking one that's out there trending, and it's one that we're recommending at this time. Again, I can't wait to read it myself, but yeah, so if you've read it,
above popular, we're not above, like I don't want anybody to ever think that we are like above. I don't draw, and I'm not a snob. Like I'm willing to read what everybody else is reading if it's good.
Absolutely. All of this was never about the book itself, the author. It was just like we didn't get the hype, right? Like that's kind of the conversation. And sometimes we didn't even agree on that. There's some of us that love it, other of us that don't. Like that's what the podcast is about. So who knows? Maybe I'll hate Yesteryear, and then I'll be the one.
Maybe you'll want to throw it across the room.
Exactly. But anyway, I'd love for you, audience, because so many people are reading it. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, like put it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you of your thoughts on Yesteryear and where that's landed in your reading life.
It's quite a banger debut novel, that's for sure.
All right.
Also see like the way of like obscure feminist novel if like Anne Hathaway hadn't have attached to it. So like I could see that this novel maybe would have never gotten any attention except among like a really small group of people interested in like feminist dystopia. So it also it's a really great read, but also there's probably a reason that it's being put in front of all of us.
Yeah. And then we come back to that whole thing we were just talking about, like how these things come to us, right? Like it is, sometimes it's magic, sometimes it's marketing. Anyway.
Is it magic or is it marketing? I love it.
Anyway, thank you for joining us today. As you can tell, we could talk about books forever, and we're so grateful that you're all here with us on this journey and just get to chat with us about books. So
love it.
Happy reading.
Happy reading. Summer reading. Yay.